Welcome to Clay Histories. This is our brand new series about clay and history. My name's Adrian, this is Eric, and we're going to teach you about Chinampas. What are Chinampas, Eric?
Well, they were small artificial islands used by the Aztecs for farming. They could grow many plants like corn, squash, and beans on them.
Chinampas were basically a floating island on top of the lake that they lived in. So let's get right into the episode. This is Adrian, this is Eric, and welcome to Clay Histories, owned and operated by Adrian Ershad Corporation and partially owned by Eric. The people that made Chinampas were the Aztecs. Their main city was Tenochtitlan, which was located on Lake Texcoco on an island. Over the years, Tenochtitlan has been built over by modern-day Mexico City. The Aztecs established Tenochtitlan on Lake Texcoco after receiving a direct message. Built a location where they find an eagle perched on a cactus eating a snake. Upon finding the specific location, they find a divine sign from their gods and started building this man-made island. You can still see the eagle perched on a cactus eating a snake on the Mexican flag. The Aztecs people found that Tenochtitlan protected them from many threats, but had one main disadvantage. It was hard to get food to this location because they crossed through their crossway, which made them vulnerable if someone blocks it. The Aztecs had limited land to grow and growing population to feed, so they became, using their past knowledge of making man-made islands, they came up with a genius idea, making several man-made islands in the middle of the lake, Chinampas. The reason making Chinampas was so genius was that Lake Texcoco, and now modern-day Mexico City, was a fertile and resource land due to its location within the valley, a closed basin with rich sediment and soil that falls into the lake, making the ground filled with rich nutrients which are perfect for growing crops. But there was one main problem. The lake was filled with brackish water. Brackish water is water but has more salinity than fresh water, but less than salt water, so it's not good for growing crops and food. The Aztecs built several dams, canals, and aqueducts to manage the water flow and the salinity of the lake. When filtering out the brackish water, the aqueducts filled with spring water from the mountains. Additionally, the construction of Chinampas helped control the water at the same time. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm making a perimeter in a rectangle shape using brown clay. The Aztecs did the same thing. They would use a perimeter in a rectangle pattern using willow stakes and driving them into the ground, and then weaving them around with reeds around the stake to cut off the water from flooding back in, like a container. As you can see, I'm filling it in with dirt, like the Aztecs did. On average, this would take several days or a couple of weeks. Now let me introduce you to our crops for today. First, we have the tomato. Then we have arugula, squash, and bean. And of course, you have corn or maize. Eats corn! We have one final step before our Chinampa is ready. We need to plant these seeds. There! Now let's just wait for them. Now let's hand it to Eric. Eric is the main person that designed these plants. So Eric, how did you design these plants?
I was making little squash plants with this color by making oval-shaped balls, and then I would add small pieces of lime clay over to act as leaves. Once those are done, I would usually have a plant stem, but this one was pre-made. I attached the squash to the stem and then added another squash to it. After this, the plant is mainly done, and other plants can be made through a similar process. I got this clay from Opus, and I got 2 packs for $44. And now back to Adrian.
Thank you, Eric, for that lovely presentation. Look, all our seeds have fully grown, but there's something missing. What is it? I know what it is. It's the Mexican willow trees. These willow trees were very important to Chinampas. They were like living anchors. They also acted like wind barriers and insect barriers, keeping the food safe. The roots would embed into the dirt, making it almost impossible getting out. Now it's perfect. Yes!
Today's episode was very interesting. Don't you agree, Adrian?
It was an absolute thriller! I can't believe how much we learned about Chinampas.
Well, you can also do this at home.
You can do the exact same thing to it by following our long form video of our whole tutorial. Have a great time, kids. Bye!